Huh. So I have to keep your window. Oh, that might mess things up. We'll leave you the way you were. You were perfect the way you were, Mike. Okay. So let's see. You're okay. Will you do me a favor and go share screen again? That's what I thought. Okay, we'll fix you. Okay, I think that'll be good. I think that, so I have it set so it'll really focus on your viewport. So that'll be the bulk of it. Okay, so we'll just leave it like that. Perfect. So you can go back to your lovely face again.
Perfect.
And then I am going to just set out a couple. Oh, is that a display? It is. Oh, so I should have used, so it's my bad. I'm actually using a display capture instead of window capture. You know, I'm going to, Mike, this is all live, but I'm gonna actually change this. That way it doesn't mess up. Because whenever a window pops up in front of your face, it's showing that. Since I used a, and this is fine. Maybe some people will pop in and say hi. It's okay to do this live.
Oh yeah.
Okay, window capture. Okay, so we want to do a window capture instead. And so instead of Zoom, it is a Hangout call. Perfect. That way, if things get scaled or messed up, it won't change. Okay, so you're already back on screen. Sorry, I'm sitting here talking to myself.
No, it's okay. I'm here. I'm here for you, Gabe.
Awesome. Okay, so now really quick, we're going to copy and paste this. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, so will you mind going full screen again?
Sharing my screen.
Like a pro. Thank you very much. Transform, reset transforms. Beautiful. Okay, so this should be exactly what we want. Nothing more, nothing less. Here we go. Paco Gaming 2006. How are you doing, my friend? What are we working on? We are working on.
Should I stop sharing my screen first, or?
Yeah, you can stop it now. I got it. We're all set. We're all set to talk to Paco Gaming now.
Paco Gaming.
Paco Gaming in the house. Before we're just about to get started with our little noob show, Paco Gaming. Hopefully you're into Blender3D. Essentially, it's myself and my friend Mike. We do a weekly or every other week podcast talking about Blender3D, showing off some of the projects we're working on. So we do have a project to show in just a little bit, but we're going to talk about Blender3D in general. So I guess it's as good a time anyway to kick as any to kick the show off.
Yo.
Yo. Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
No. You
go.
No,
you go. This is a very Paco Gaming 2006. Just so you know, this is a very professional outfit. We take our job very seriously, and we don't even push start streaming until we have everything perfectly tuned and polished.
Exactly.
Okay, so here we go. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so Blender Noob Show is happening. We are doing the right thing. We're doing everything we can, and it is happening. Go.
Okay, welcome. Welcome to the Blender Noob Show. Yes. Weekly show. My name is Gabriel Olson, aka Checkpoint Professor. Go ahead.
Oh yes, sorry. Obviously. And I am Mike Reese, aka Melting Face 3D.
Yeah, and we're important because
we give back to the community, because we talked about Blender, and because 3D is fun.
100%. Yeah, so a little bit of our background, once again, for those that don't know us, you're new to the show, or those who really want to hear a repeat of that. I am the Checkpoint Professor, Gabriel Olson, at the University of Utah, where I teach game design, and I'm learning how to use 3D Blender coats, whatever, Blender3D.
And I am Michael Reese. I've been in the 3D industry for over a decade, currently working within the e-learning industry, doing 3D training, doing 3D simulations, doing VR, doing AR, doing all sorts of stuff. Uh, and I am still a noob, but becoming less of a noob every day. And me and Gabe are learning together.
Yes, it's a match made in heaven. Okay, so yeah, a decade, many more to come. Yeah, we've been around. We have been around the games and video industries for a number of years. My primary software that I've used through game development and even in video production as well as education has primarily been Autodesk Maya. And so that's what I'm used to. So it's a challenge learning Blender, but it's been fun. And Mike, what software have you primarily used in your?
Yeah, so learned Maya in college with Gabe, but when I got into the industry, it was all Max and V-Ray. So that's what my primary package was. So we got Gabe on the Maya side, we got me on the Max side, and now we're going to the blend, and that's been a blast.
I am actually starting to like Blender 3D finally. I think we talked about this a little bit last week, but I actually had to jump into Maya this week to do some things, and I've got to admit Blender kind of messed up my controls, and I was kind of upset because I'm starting to kind of like the way Blender controls. So it's just
So
I never thought I would.
yeah, so talk about what happened. What was the big disconnect? What screwed you up specifically about the controls?
Yeah, so this is my memory thinking, right? So this is an interesting thing about navigating through 3D software. Is a lot of times you disconnect it verbally. It's more of like it becomes intuition, right? You don't really think about what you're doing. You just do it. And so that was one of the big eye-opening things for me when I started actually teaching back in the day. This was at Mount Hood Community College in Oregon, right?
Yep.
When I actually had to talk about what I was doing. And so I'm like, oh crap, okay, yeah. Then you left mouse click, then you right mouse click, and you really had to take a step back and remember it. And correct me if I'm wrong. Now I have to actually remember what I was pressing when I switched to Blender and Maya. But it seemed like most of the controls were based on the middle mouse wheel in Blender, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And so that was it. I had to then jump into the left mouse and the right mouse, and I never thought that would happen to me. But I think I'd been in Blender so much the last few weeks that you just get used to it. So then it takes a minute to remember what software you're in. Which is, I don't have that issue with ZBrush though, and I think because ZBrush is such a different software,
It is so unique.
that it's so unique that I know I'm digitally sculpting, and so there is this kind of language confusion that I have with Blender and Maya because they both do the same thing, but they have different controls. So it messed me up more than I thought it would. It's kind of like I speak semi-fluent Filipino, but I try to speak Spanish when I have some Spanish-speaking people in the U.S. that I try and speak to, and I know really bad Spanish. And so I'll start speaking Spanish, and then my brain will automatically move to Tagalog, to Filipino, and then I'll start to get kind of side-eyed looks, right? So it's kind of like that. It's like I don't know what I'm doing, and I kind of jumble the two together now. So it's going to be fun seeing how that continues on.
Yeah, and with what's so interesting about 3D programs is that it's a kinetic language, right? We're using our hands, we're using our eyes, we're using our it's can become like our brains and our bodies are working at the same time. So it can really be disorienting, especially like this last week I had to go back into Max for just some corrections for something, and I just kept on screwing up. I was like, okay, what is this again? And you know what's funny is that Max and Blender are a little bit closer because they use more of the middle mouse for some stuff, but they just do it just very slightly differently. And so yeah, it can be a pain in the butt.
So here's the question, Mike. Professionally, is it a good idea for us to learn Blender 3D?
I mean, the more I use it, the more I say yes, because it is so kind of crazy how much um, how much I wish other packages could do what Blender can do. One of the things that's really powerful about Blender is the community based, or it, because it's open source, they have people from all different backgrounds and different, like different backgrounds and abilities, but there's so much creativity happening, and there's that can lead to some really interesting add-ons that speed up workflows so quickly, and you're like, wow, that you know because it was implemented so quickly, after two versions of Blender, it's completely there are certain things that have become just so much faster and better that it could take years to implement with like Max or Maya. So it's very strange sometimes. Uh, some things that Blender doesn't do well in one month and then does very very well in the other month.
Yeah.
But I mean, yes, I think Blender is a fantastic tool to learn art in general and to learn 3D and 3D space if you're starting out. And because of what it's doing now, I don't see any reason why. Like if I was starting out even just a couple of years ago, I would not go into Max or Maya until I found a job that only used Max or Maya and just learn that. Just because the tools now are so similar.
It's a good point. Yeah, were you answering Paco Gaming's question, or was that? So Paco Gaming asked, question, is Blender 3D
Oh,
good for all people?
so I mean, yes. What are you talking about? Like all skill levels of people? Like for all skill levels, or for? Can you
So
be more specific?
so there's a little bit of a lag, so we'll have to give him a second
Okay.
to answer. So it's like a 10-second. But I'd like to welcome and thank everybody from Twitch who's stopping by. This is to full disclosure, this is a bit of a slow news week, but we decided the show must go on. Mike has some really cool things to show us on his project. We're going to talk a little bit on gaming news. But just remember, anyone who comes into our Twitch stream and is watching our podcast live, we love to show off other people's Blender artwork and talk to our audience. And so this isn't just a show where Mike and I just talk. We love audience participation. So yeah, Paco Gaming asked if Blender 3D was good for all people. And yeah, my answer to that before he follows up in whether he's talking about skill levels or just people in general, I would say yes. I would like to point out that at the end of the day, any 3D modeling software is just moving around faces, edges, and vertices. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and Blender, Maya, Max, they're all just tools to do that. Some might be more intuitive than others. Others might have cooler ways to move those vertices, edges, and faces around. But at the end of the day, knowledge of one will get you 90% of the way to the next one. It's just a matter of learning the tools to manipulate those things in 3D space.
100%. Yeah, yeah. I agree with that 1,000%, in fact.
A little off topic, but 3D Mentor asked, when is Good Morning E8 making a comeback? This Monday, my friend.
Oh, 3D Mentor. I've been watching your videos. Good stuff. I love your trim sheets.
Yeah, big shout out to 3D Mentor. He does make the best trim sheets around. They make you want to slap your mama. They're so good.
I don't. Do you say that, Gabe?
I
Does
have
he
no
say that?
I have no idea what that means, but we
Okay.
we just said it. So, okay.
Okay.
Okay, so Paco Gaming, I hope we answered your question. So let's hop into the news, Mike. So here's the news for Blender 3D. My place for getting the news generally is Blender 3D itself. But something happened this week, Mike. What happened to the Blender
Yeah,
3D website?
they got hacked, which is just absolutely stupid awful. I think
Who,
it's just bad.
who
Bad, bad,
would
bad.
do that? Who would
I don't
do
know.
that?
I don't know. People who don't like, you know what? Paco Gaming, here is a better answer to your question. Who would it not be good for? The people that hacked Blender.
Yeah,
That's who it's not good for.
yeah, those people can shove it. Like, you know, So there's a lot of bad stuff going in the world. Why do you have to hack the good things?
I don't know. It's super silly.
Yeah, 3D
And
Mentor says it's already free. It's already free,
yeah,
but we
and
have to hack the free things, right?
it's it's but I hope that they have a huge you know base of support, and I hope that they're able to get things back online, and then they didn't lose any data or any builds or any of that stuff. It's just not good. I mean, I
Yeah,
am so dark.
yeah.
Let me
So you hackers out there, I hope you're proud of yourself. And how dare you? There we go. So you need to get some mood lighting behind you, like some nice blues or purples,
I
like
know. I'm just
some of those like lightsabers in the background. That's what all the good streamers do, Mike.
they have they have those boot lighting.
They really set the ambiance, that
Yes.
those ambient emissive lights.
I will definitely have to do that.
All right, next time. Okay, so so that's the news. Blender got hacked, and we're wondering why. So anyone who can tell us why, we'd love to hear it. So that's the news. And before we get into Mike's project, this is going to be a shorter episode. We've actually lengthened it a little bit with our banter, which is a good thing. Come here for the Blender talk and the banter.
That's what I'm here for.
So Mike, what's going on with your project? Should I switch it to so I switch it to full screen mode?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. For everyone who's been following these last few episodes, I'm pretty slow. I mean, meaning
Oh, oops. I didn't mean to do
sorry.
that. No,
Let me actually share my screen instead of me being full screen.
no, you're good.
Okay.
There we go.
Sharing screen. Here we go. Okay. So I've been having a fantastic time modeling this Game Boy Advance SP. It's the one that I spent the most amount of time on when I was growing up playing Pokemon, and so I decided to use this opportunity to model a pretty detailed model of the Game Boy Advance. I kind of forget last time where we were at, but I know that I didn't have the Game Boy cartridge, and so that was a lot of fun to build. Building these arcs, and let me see. Still, it's pretty quantified. I still have some cleanup to do for some of these corners, but it's been a ton of fun, and it's worked out really well. And so this is the next phase after I clean up the model, which there is still only one more piece I have, not piece, there's one more detail I have to add to the base. And then I'm going to do a cleanup phase where I go through and just triangulate correctly so that I can do some unwrapping and get it over to Substance Painter for some texturing. But I'm hopefully going to be doing the unwrapping with Blender. But yeah, looks like there's some shading issues.
So those just stopping by, this is 100% Blender, and will be 100%.
Blender.
Correct me for is that screen cracked? What's going on with the screen?
Oh, this right here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is a good opportunity to talk about parenting. Let's do a cube. Let's do another cube. Blender and parenting. So in order to, like if I wanted this cube to be parented to this cube, I can do this cube to the parent, Control P, and I go to Object Cube Transforms, and it does that line.
Oh.
And actually, this right here, not Shift A, Shift S. Shift is selected, rotate, there we go. Yeah, so that's parenting. So what I've done is in order to move things correctly, I've parented everything to the base. Yes, the base. So besides this cartridge, I just wanted to fit in there, but what I've done is, we'll hide this, parented every single piece to the base so that when I do the animation of the opening and closing and all that kind of stuff, everything travels together.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Blender has a visual indicator for a viewport indicator for parenting.
Yeah, and yep, it absolutely does. And it's this like little dotted situation. This right here is essentially a helper node, and I've used that to see. So I parented this to this node so that I can then rotate it. So I added a constraint to it, which is right here. So this is a plane axis, and then the constraints. I did a object constraint so that I can only limit the Y rotation, and I gave it some parameters of 0 and negative 181 degrees. And the other thing I did is I locked, so N key, right? And actually, Gabe, this is going to be awesome. You're going to love this.
I can't wait.
Boom. Okay. Now, oh, I need to turn on screencast keys. Screencast keys. Maybe I have to restart Blender. Okay, well, never mind what I just said. So anyways, what I've done is I've limited the rotation, so now I can just open and close it. It with this parameter right here and not worry about. See how it just locks into place.
That's awesome.
So then if I go to negative 179.9, that's going to be fully closed. So it's all good in the hood. So
that 179.9 is interesting, just because it's such a unique number, right? Is there a way to, so you locked it to that distance, right? So you can't go past that, or is that?
Yeah, so this is the reason why I did 179.9 is for some reason, if I just drag it past to 180, because my limit is 180, it snaps back to the 0 point.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So if I go negative 180, it won't do anything. Even though that, so I went to 181, and then I go to negative 179.9, which is closest I can get, and it looks absolutely close.
Which is so dang close, yeah.
And it even says 180. So, but then what's kind of funny is that I can go beyond, and it locks how it's supposed to lock. So
beautiful.
Yeah. So some of the modeling I've done since last we spoke is I put the volume button in, which is looking really nice, which is actually the exact same as I guess this is the power, but it's in a different location.
Do they use the same switch in the real Advance?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just one's over here and one's over here. I added some extra details around here, which is this little, circular turning situation. So it kind of gives an idea about it actually flipping over.
And that's the technical term, everybody. The circular turning situation.
Turning situation, yeah.
Yes.
It's just, I added bolts or screws. Do
they use Phillips screws in there? No.
Yeah, these little.
Are you serious? They're just Phillips head screws?
Yeah, and then they have small ones like this for like this port.
Oh, that's so interesting. Because like on the Switch, they have these really weird little, like they almost look like bats, like a bat-shaped screw head. Just so just so nobody can open them up, but for $7 on Amazon, you can order the tool set. So
that's silly.
Proprietary.
Yeah, that is pretty. I don't know, but it sounds like a Sony thing. With their proprietary stuff.
Yeah.
But so screws and then flat screws for the battery, and then I did some additional details back here where the cartridge goes in. They have this I don't know, this not pad, it's just extra extrusion detail, and then another screw port, and then, yeah, looks like I have some potentially some cleaning up to do over there as well. Trying looking for, like, shading issues. That's how I kinda tell it's like actually, I guess it's up this way. Just need to go through some of the things about Blender that have been interesting. Oh, geez. See, I'm already screwing up so bad.
It's
I'm
legit.
just yeah. I'm just trying to do so, like, the alt middle mouse will re oh, you know what? It's not. It's actually okay. There have been some, there's some really cool things about Blender. It's just more about, um, knowing what's happening. So, let me tell you about I kinda went over this last time, but it's worth mentioning again. Um, let's go to a mesh, let's go to a plane, let's go over there, edit mode, let's get some geo. So, uh, there's a button right here that's called auto merge vertices, and it's really flippin' useful, especially if you want to quickly do some merging. So I'll click on here, and then maybe I will do a control click over here, and then I want to merge these verts or move them, move and merge at the same time. So right now, since I don't have it on, like it locks there, but the vertices are still overlapping. But if
And
I
what was
turn on
that? That
auto,
was called auto merge vertices.
yeah, there's this little button right here. It's called that you can see that it indicates auto merge, but it's also in the tool. So again, if you hit N and you go to tool, there's auto merge, and you actually want to know where that's at because this is where some things got screwed up. So see this threshold area
Yeah.
that you want. So by default, it's 0.1. But really, you want to be almost nothing because you want to be things that are right on top of each other. What was happening to me is that I had some. Actually, let's do this. So I had some places where I had a big bevel and I had a lot of stuff like this. And so when I was moving, actually, when I was moving some vertices over, no, that's good. But when it's really tiny, there are other things that would merge together because the threshold was bigger than what I wanted.
Right.
So that happened quite a bit um, in these tight little. Actually, I had like in these, not even here, but some really tight bevel areas. Like I would do some finessing, and then multiple things would merge, and then I would have to fix that, and that was kind of annoying. So I ended up either turning it off, or I figured, oh, I should go into here and turn the threshold down super low so that doesn't happen. So little advanced but not advanced tip.
No, that's great to know. That will be in the show notes. I've written that down for the show notes.
Um, Here's another really quick one that is actually one of the things that Blender does. It's a small thing that Blender does that they've decided to just to remove like 2 extra clicks from something. So let's get a cylinder, and we're gonna move over here, and we're gonna do Shift D, get another one. It doesn't really matter. I just want to show a cylinder. So sometimes when you want to clean up a model, right? So you've done some modeling, you've done some insetting, and you've done some sweet stuff. Actually, let's do extrude down, and then some more insetting. and extrude it down. And then, yeah, so you have this model. It's completely done, and you want to not have this end gone, so you want to triangulate it real quick. So what you could do pretty easily is first I typically bring I do Shift S, I do cursor to selected as the 3D cursor. If you want to do things to the center, or that tends to work out really well. So you hit I for inset, and then you right click, and then you hit scale 0. There we go. You can do it like scale and then 0, and then it collapses in on itself,
Nice.
which is cool. Actually, I did it too much. Let me actually, it's like you do insets,
There you go.
scale 0, yeah, and then scale. Oops. Oh, jeez. See, Blender is doing it again.
Oh, Blender.
I know. It's just okay. So let's try this again. So scale 0. Yeah. Okay. There we go. So like that works, but you could do it a different way. Actually, I don't even see. This is how good I am at things. I know you need this. The other way that you could do it is actually with a like a one click. Actually, I guess let me bring that back. So the other way to do that is to just right click on the face and say poke faces.
Poke faces?
Yeah, I know. You can just poke it. But
That's interesting. So in Maya, that would be a one click as well. It's just merge to center.
merge to center, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Blender does a little bit extra. So poke faces, and then you can see that it actually has a dialog box.
Interesting.
And you can do things with this poked face.
What does poked face mean? Well, I mean, what is that?
Know. It's like fake. You know what it's like? It's like Facebook when they say
Who writes these?
Like
who writes
your friend.
Okay, but it's not. You're not just poking it. You've actually. I don't. I'm curious. I just don't see the correlation to merge to center. Like merge to center makes sense. You're merging everything to center, but poking faces.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know where they get some of these terms.
All right. Well, what does poke have a different meaning than? Maybe it does. Let's see. Poke definition. I'm just curious now. This food for thought, right? Poke. Oh, it's a vulgar jab or prod someone or something, especially with one's finger. Thrust something in a particular direction. Okay, an act of poking someone or something, and informal, a look or search around a place. All right.
Blender has some really cool things that I was also playing around with over the last few days, and that is making stairs.
Yeah.
Like 3 easy steps.
Oh, I actually love this. This is
yes. Let's back up and let me do it again, right?
So that's something that's very game friendly.
Yeah. So Blender's bevel, in my opinion, is one of the most versatile bevels in any other 3D package. They've added some stuff to make it really fantastic for like ArchViz or for quickly building things that you wouldn't typically, would be harder to, not harder, but slower to build. So beveling. So it's you get to an edge, and then you do Control B, and then you drag up. Okay. And typically you're in this mode, super ellipse, which is the standard, and it's fantastic. You can change your segments to 16. You can change your width with this little dialogue, super tight, getting bigger. One really amazing little click here is called clamp overlap. So if you were to have that turned on, it won't allow you to go past these points. If there were points beyond here, it won't allow you to go past them if it starts to like overlap other geometry.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is really good. Now it doesn't auto merge. It may if I have this on, but it doesn't auto merge. So if you get past it, you may need to then merge those vertices.
Right.
But what's really fantastic is this little profile type, and then you go to custom. This is where you can start to do some interesting things. So like, that's 30 steps. I think if you were to go this and go to custom, no, you have to draw more steps in there, but um, you can start to make really like intricate levels. They actually have a presets here. Crown molding. How sweet is
Oh,
that?
interesting.
And and you can see how they've drawn.
Yeah. So do you go into that little grid and you just draw out how many steps? Are you so there's no adjusting the amount of steps or
Yeah, you can just do it just
oh,
like you would any.
fascinating.
Um, Let me see steps again. Nice. Okay, so that's a good tip. So like you're here and let's say, oh, you know what, I want 32 steps. Well, that's not working out right. So you just go to a different preset default and
And
then
then
you go back to
reapply it.
steps. Yep, and then you got 32 steps. See how it just redraws it.
So that is really cool. And I'm quoting you on that. Blender's bevel is one of the most versatile of any modeling package. So
Yeah,
that is something that we can be argued about.
that's fine. I don't mind arguing.
No, but that's that. You know what? Already, I tend to agree with you. And I think every software package should be defined on how well it bevels.
I think it's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah, the crown molding stuff, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean that makes things pretty easy. Now you can.
That kind of brings up one of those topics like one of the arguments like I hear against Blender, was that every tool, every feature inside Blender is somebody who is trying to kind of create every feature as kind of a showpiece feature instead of just like having boring features. So that one seems very interesting. Like, you know what? I have been doing architectural modeling in Blender, and I would love a crown molding bevel. And so someone took it upon themselves to actually put it in there because when they're doing houses, that speeds up their process.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's an interesting argument. I would like to know. I would like to know which specific features maybe they were talking about because that is showcasing how quickly you can do steps, but isn't that how like that way of thinking, like isn't that how every kind of new tool is made?
I think that is totally true. And a lot of times, if you think about it, like whether it's 3D software or Unreal Engine or any kind of game engine, right? Most of the features come from companies using that software who are requesting them,
Yeah.
right? That's where real ingenuity comes from. And the case of Blender is a little bit different, where it's built by the community. So when the community sees a need or something cool they want to add, they just do it themselves. So same kind of thing, little different way of coming about it.
Yes.
So a
Yes.
good example is like what's interesting is Grand Theft Auto Online, which I don't play, but there was something interesting that happened the last couple of weeks. Is that a hacker, someone who plays it, found a way to kind of hack their engine and get the load times to increase by like 70%.
Oh, I did hear about that.
Yeah, and so Rockstar put out a release patch because they're like, crap, yep, this dude found the bottleneck, and we'll integrate that post haste. And it's kind of the way a lot of this software works, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Here's a spot where that like here's a spot where the auto merge screwed up. See this right here.
And
See?
in this case, since it's inside there, do you just not care about it, or
Oh no, I'm gonna fix it. I don't this
that will
no
not fly?
this gives me anxiety. So
That's awesome.
how I would fix this real quick is like I do need to add another edge right here, but
Yeah,
here's a really quick way to fix this. So
delete and extrude, right?
yeah, delete extrude. So we want this, and we need that to go all the way over here.
Yep.
So I would go to here, control click, delete faces. I'll go over to here, control click, delete faces. Geez, don't dissolve edges, delete faces. Okay. So now I would go to my, I would do this. I would do really awesome things like that, and then I would go back into what I want. Um, okay, so I would go to my edge that I want to extrude. So in order to make this perfect, I do turn on my snaps, my snap to vertices, which is Shift Tab, but you can do it here too.
Major Moose asks, did you model this?
I did model this. Oh, and you know what? Just to be even doubly sure, this let's do this right here. I'm gonna hit that key. I'm gonna make sure that it looks straight. Okay. See, I don't think this vertice is actually aligned with that.
Yep.
So that's okay though. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit G and then Z to lock it to the Z axis. Actually, yep, I'm gonna do that. Shift tab to get back to my snapping, and then GZ. And then I'm just gonna hover over the face I want to align, or the vertex I want to make sure that it gets aligned with. And then I'm gonna do this GZ, same thing. Just gonna go right there. Okay, so now it should be good.
Perfect.
So now if I go here, I'm gonna hit 2. So Major Moose, yes, I modeled this. This is the Game Boy Advance SP. I'm currently showing how to do a fix on some edges. So again, my auto merge is off. I'm gonna hit E and then X. Nope, I'm gonna hit Y. Kind of.
This is the squirreliness of Blender.
Well, that's because I have the snapping on. So
it's so squirrely. Yeah, it's so squirrely.
EY, and then EY again. Oh, something's.
But you make it look easy, Mike. You make it look easy. Yeah, Major Moose, if you haven't stopped by on any Saturday evenings,
okay.
my buddy Mike and I, we do a little show here we're doing right now called the Blender News Show, the Blender Noobs Show, and we talk Blender3D. We're both learning the software, and so typically we share some Blender news. If anyone wants to share some of their Blender artwork, we do that, and then we show off some of the projects we're working on. And Mike is working on a Nintendo Game Boy Advance SP.
Yep.
And he's going to do this from soup to nuts in Blender. So he's just cleaning it all up. Soon he will be UV unwrapping and making it look super pretty. And I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, and there's just some stuff I have to fix, but it'll be fine. That's the thing with 3D, right? You get into a certain spot and you're like, I think I got this right, and it.
And then you notice you merge some vertice and back behind your project and.
See that? Okay, so that's okay. So EY.
I would like to point out, Mike, that 3D Mentor never makes these kind of mistakes.
No, I watch him, and he doesn't make those mistakes. He's too good.
Yeah, he's
pretty insane.
In the business, we refer to him as a prodigy or a savant. But Mike and I, we have to work hard for everything we do.
We do.
For some people, it just comes naturally.
I mean, that's why he's called the 3D Mentor, right?
That's right.
Yeah, see, and so now there's still something happening over here. I just have to. Oh, so there's something. Yeah. So I mean, this is the most exciting stuff you've ever seen in your life. I know it is, but just something isn't. There we go. So I just gotta hit G, get it back there. There it is, folks.
Beautiful. Now it's looking great. So we just need a couple more lines, though, right? Or are you going to just, oh, that's where they need to match up there. Couple more edge loops, and this is...
Oh, yeah.
All
There's
done.
Gonna need some decent stuff here.
But that's a good show of how to fix that.
Yeah.
Straighten up those. I know those are just bothering you, aren't they?
Yeah, and here's what
I would just leave them there because that would be my secret, that there's some imperfections inside that cartridge.
Well, Blender makes it so easy to make things straight. So here's what I'm gonna do is leave that because I'm just gonna mirror it over. But here's the quick way to. Oh, don't do that. Get out of that. Like, let's say that we had this situation, right?
Right.
Okay.
And that
So
will not do.
no. But we want to align it with this vertex right here, right? This here to here is a straight line. So what you can do is hit that vertex all the way to this vertex and hit control, and that will get the ones in between them. Okay, so then let's say that your 3D cursor is out in space, okay? The 3D cursor is really powerful in that can be your temporary center point. So Shift S will bring up the 3D cursor snap situation, and I just do cursor to selected, which will go to the center of your selection. So now if I hit scale S, Z, and then 0, and then enter, it will automatically get those straight. And then if I hit Shift Tab and I hit G, Z, and then just hover over the vertex I want to make sure I go and align it to, it's all good.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I know. It's just again the most
No,
exciting thing
you know
that
what?
people have ever done.
It kind of is fun though.
Yeah,
It's
no, it's those problem solving things that just make it just tons of fun.
right.
So now, I mean, there are things I still need to fix up over here, but this is the whole point. And yeah, see, there is still something going on here that I'm just live, and so I just don't. I just need to get that figured out. But once it's figured out, you go here and you go to your modifiers and you go to your mirror and then you go to your Y and you're good to go. You're good to go.
Beautiful. And so did that auto merge everything as well?
It does have an auto merge right here, and then I would probably even lower it, right, to avoid those same
Yeah.
situations.
So like
But what I'm going
0.001.
yeah, but what I'm going to do for now, knowing that there is something going on right here, you can kind of tell what because it's a little bit extra thick. I'm going to keep this modifier there, and I'm going to go into edit mode, and I'm going to make that fix, and then I want to go through that process again.
Awesome.
So yeah, I mean this is one of the reasons why I don't know this is just too much fun.
So Major Moose would like to know what game is going to be on that cartridge.
So Major Moose, it's going to be my plan is to actually have multiple games with it. So this is not going to be a static final piece. This is going to be an animation of the Game Boy Advance opening up, doing some product rendering, if you will, and I'm going to actually have games swap in and out. And I'm thinking of having 3 games come into play.
Yep.
One,
and Major Moose, before you tell me the games too, Mike is also gonna to add this as a mobile image with some button pressed, so you could actually play the games by pushing the buttons in the control pad. All in Blender. It'll all be programmed.
all in Blender. I have no idea what Gabe's talking about, but the games that are going to be on there are going to be Pokemon Sapphire, the blue. It's going to be that's the major game I play. So Pokemon Sapphire. It's going to be a Mega Man game and probably a Zelda game and or Castlevania.
Love
Those
it.
are going to be the games. Which I do have reference for. So those are going to go on there.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to try and get some gameplay footage of those and put them as like animated textures up on the screen.
I am excited, Mike. So
Thanks.
what's the plan? What's the plan for the next sprint?
Okay, so the next sprint is fix up this cartridge, right? We're going to fix that up. We're going to prep. I have one more detail to add to this bottom piece, and then that will be donezo. Then I'm going to prep the model for for Unwrap and Substance Painter. But I'm going to unwrap it in Blender, and then I'm going to use Substance Painter not to do any low to high poly baking, but just to do the texturing. I'm going to use the high poly model as the model to texture. Bring that back in, use Node Wrangler, a really fantastic add-on to set up the shaders within Blender, and then I'm going to light it, render it, and animate it.
Whoa,
Or I guess
Node Wrangler, is that free edition, or is that
totally free? It is within vanilla Blender. You just have to enable it. And Node Wrangler is really fantastic. So here, let's just briefly look at Node Wrangler, because it's actually important that you look at it. So what's really cool is that if you go to Node Wrangler and you turn it on, what it's telling you right here, and this is the power of Node Wrangler, and that it's boring, Gabe, but it's powerful. This is a time-saving thing, and it's all about what? It's about naming conventions. Oh my gosh, naming conventions. So what you can do, like once you export your textures from whatever software you're using, so like if you say, Game Boy Advanced _ diffuse or diff or albedo or base or call or color, right? And you use these same naming conventions, you can then shift select all of those. You can go into a node, shift select all of those textures, and then it will automatically link up the different nodes that it needs and where to put them automatically, so you don't have to create nodes and put them, oh, this goes into the normal, this goes into the diffuse. It does that automatically for you within one click.
that sounds amazing.
Yeah, so that's why it's really fantastic, and you're using naming conventions to do
I
it.
love it. I love it. I love it. That's sweet, Mike.
That's where we're at. I feel like this show went on longer than we had anticipated,
Longer
but
than
it was
anticipated.
a killer one. It was
No,
killer.
you know what? Every show was a great one with when it's the Blender Noobs time. Let's go
Yeah.
back. Let's go out of full screen.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing
Yeah,
my screen.
then we can say. Then we can thank everybody for stopping by today. It's been awesome. No, seriously, we, like, as usual, full disclosure, we're debating whether to even have the stream tonight, because we're like, did we have enough content? And I think this goes to show, when it comes to Blender3D, any content is good content, and we'll take what we can get. No, but this was a lot of fun. So I think we'll continue rain or shine every other week ish. With the Blender Noob Show. I want to thank everybody who stopped by Twitch. Anybody watching this on YouTube at the Blender Noobs YouTube channel, link in the description below. Catch our episodes and definitely follow us on Twitch. Right now we're on the Checkpoint Professor channel, but in the future there may be a Blender Noobs official channel for Twitch. I don't know. We're making adjustments. We're adding new details every week. We actually have some cool stuff coming up with a new logo and a lot of updates coming to the YouTube channel, which has been a slow work in progress. Much like Blender itself, this is a small operation built on love of free 3D software. So,
the love of art. For the love of art, that's what
for
we're
the
doing.
love of art. Yeah. So yeah, thank you everybody for stopping by. Follow us on our stuff, especially if you're into Blender3D. We'd love to showcase some of your art or even talk to you on the Blender Noob Show. So yeah, and if anyone wants to take it upon themselves to make us a really cool intro jingle, I'd love that. I don't know. It's
Why not?
Yeah, it's a crowdsourced. I don't know.
Just like Blender.
Yes, just like Blender. Major Moose, especially thanks to you. Thanks for the comments, and we're signing off. We'll see you next time.
Yep. Boom.